makes most women start a business? Is it passion, money, or freedom? Welcome to Female Founders, the podcast that takes you behind the scene with women who are founders and CEOs to help you start and scale a successful business of your own. I am your host, Nagelia de Ravin. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Female Founders. In this episode, we are going to have a conversation with Yasmine Khosrowshahi, the founder and CEO of BlueTickSocial. Her marketing agency is unique, an all-woman-led agency that supports other females. I am so excited about this conversation because she is an excellent example of how we as women can support one another. Good morning, Yasmine. What a great privilege to have this conversation with you. You started a company that can fill a big gap for businesses, especially small businesses. When did you start BlueTickSocial, and what has the journey been like for you?
Yeah, definitely. So thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. And I'm so excited to talk about BlueTickSocial today. So BlueTickSocial is a digital marketing agency. We are fully stacked. We are fully women run and women led. And we are located in Arlington, Virginia, and we serve clients globally. So BlueTickSocial started with the idea of bringing authenticity into the market because I really believe that there was a gap in, how brands and agencies were promoting themselves on social media, not really speaking to the target audience, but more so speaking to what they wanted to sell and promote. And so we really came in and focused on building brands and building their stories and building their personalities so that audience members had something to connect with. And it's really grown into something so much greater where, small businesses can very much benefit from even something as small as brand awareness, because we've seen in times like COVID, when everything has to go online, that strength in online community is still just as important as being able to get those conversions. Because if you don't have those strong relationships, you're not going to be able to ask for those conversions. So it's really incredible to be able to work with these small businesses who really do benefit. And you can see the small changes that come when we're working with them, as well as with these larger brands as well. When we work with them and we provide change that they might have never seen, it's very fulfilling and exciting.
Yes, and absolutely, I agree with you too when you say that with COVID-19. And not only that, also when it comes to small businesses, we just think about, okay, we just need to post on social media and we just post. But are we really posting to get engagement, or are we just posting because we feel like we need to be posting? And so your services it's something that a lot of small businesses, especially women, need to actually be able to communicate properly, let people know what they do properly within their business.
Yeah.
But I am very curious to know, why did you choose to make a career in digital marketing?
Why did I choose a career in digital marketing? That's interesting. So I went to university and I studied communication with a integrated concentration in integrated marketing studies, and then a minor in entrepreneurship. And while I was at my time in university, I was heavily involved in the entrepreneurship program, where I had previously actually worked on 2 startups, one of which was mine, one of which I joined. And so I already had a background in that sense of building things, and I'm very passionate about that creativity aspect. And I think with digital marketing, it's really amazing because you can make it your own. It's always changing, and there's so many different methods. And one agency or one brand doesn't have a cookie cutter solution. Anyone can step into this industry and disrupt what's going on and do something better for a brand. And I find that really inspiring because I'm someone who I'm very creative, and I don't like to be confined to a standard box and what the standard structure is. I like to be able to go outside of the scope and test methods that have never been tested before. And with marketing, it's an industry that's constantly changing. So we're constantly able to test new things and try new things. And it's never boring. I'm never bored. So
I love it. I love the fact that you're never bored. It's like always something excited to do every day. What is unique about BlueTickSocial?
Definitely. Yeah. So, every agency has their niche, and a lot of agencies like to specialize in the kind of clients that they take on. We are not industry specific. So we take on clients from all different industries. And what's wonderful about that is when we bring on any client, the very first thing we do is we create a custom strategy for your brand. And that includes things like best times of day to post, best days of week to post, competitor analysis, social audit, psychographics, voice message, and so much more. And what's amazing about this is there's, again, no cookie cutter for this method. So when we bring on any client, we're able to study new methods. And again, every day is different and interesting. But what's nice is any type of industry we bring on, we do have methods that will help you and will help create those conversions for you because we've tested all these different methods with all these different target audiences and all these different platforms specific to so many different industries.
I love when you said that we test it. It's if that's mean that you take the precaution to make sure whatever you are doing with your client is the right thing, and you're not wasting your client's time by keep trying different things that's not actually going to work out.
Absolutely. And it's nice again in the marketing world, they do leave a lot of room for testing. Like some of the generators have like A B testing and so forth. But one rule of thumb that I really always keep in mind is any platform that we're going to recommend to a client, any kind of publication or anything paid and so forth, we always try it on ourselves first. And granted, there will be differences in target audiences and in industry, but we can see very clearly, if it works for us to some extent, it will work for the other industries.
I like that. I love it. You put your foot down first. I
Yeah,
like it.
definitely.
So, how do you pick which social media is going to work for this client and will not work? For example, you might say Instagram might not be where your target market is. You need to go to LinkedIn. How do you make that
Yeah.
decision?
Yeah, definitely. So there's a baseline for each of these platforms where you kind of know, these kind of targets are looking at this and what kind of things they're looking at. So on Instagram, we know that it's kind of like the social proof. Everyone's looking on there for visuals. So the kind of clients that require the visuals and that need those in order to get the conversions, we always recommend they're on those platforms. There are some clients that are more serious, like maybe the law industry, and it doesn't really make as much sense on Instagram or it doesn't do as well on Instagram. But a platform like LinkedIn is obviously very important for them in order to gain that professional credibility that they need to partner with other firms or to partner with big, businesses if they're B2B companies. So it really depends. We do market research and we do have a baseline of everything, but it really depends on what kind of goal that each client comes in with in terms of what is it that they want to present online. And then that's where we go and we decide.
That's amazing. Do you think that digital marketing has become an essential need for every business?
Absolutely. And I think we're seeing that more and more. And we saw that from COVID. Prior to COVID, even these corporations that were doing so well, they were making millions per year and so forth, and they'd been doing well for 20 plus years. They'd always been using either traditional marketing or word of mouth, or they already had their established, brand and their customers. But when COVID hit and all of these places where you had to come in person to do it, that caused a big problem because none of these customers then wanted to come in for whatever the service was. So then everyone took to online, and you really saw a difference between the brands that were already online and they had the strength in online community. So they were able to continue communicating with their audience and update them on updates of the community of the company as they were happening. Whereas brands who weren't online and they were like, oh my God, COVID just happened quick. We need to get online. We need to keep telling our customers we're here. We did have clients like that, and we did have more problems pushing them because it was later and everyone was doing it. All these brands decided to do it at once because of COVID. And so now all these companies that were playing along with the whole traditional marketing or they weren't doing it before, they know it's a necessity now. Whether COVID happens again or something happens again or nothing happens again, everyone is turning to the online world to make all of their decisions.
Exactly. So would you say that that grow your business a little bit, because at that time, like a lot of businesses need help. So would you
Yeah.
say that COVID wasn't like a pull down for you or more like a pull up?
Yeah, I think at the beginning it was a little bit of a pull down. We did have clients. We had actually our clients maintained; they didn't leave, but they were all very scared in terms of spending any ad budget. There was a lot of nervousness about taking your money out of anything, and then so we maintained that pace while we had those clients. And then about a year into COVID, when the whole quarantine part ended and people could start doing things and getting back to work, that's when things started building up again because these companies that were struggling for so many months knew that the only solution was we need to get online. We need to market ourselves when as things are getting better.
I see. How did you increase your following and create awareness for your company?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So, it's funny. We've always noticed with digital marketing agencies, they do a great job at promoting their clients, but a lot of times as an agency, you forget to promote yourself. And it is a full time job. Any platform is a full time job, so it doesn't come easy when you have all these clients that you have to work on. But we do have someone in-house who's wonderful, and she's always kind of like the leader of telling us, okay, today we're making a bunch of TikToks, here's the content, and so forth. And so we're very, very big on organic content, on authentic content, on following trends, on being involved in videos. Our page isn't all just graphics like a lot of agencies. It really is our faces. You get to see where we work. You get to see who we work with. And that goes for all the platforms. We're on all of them: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Pinterest, and we customize each of the content to that audience. So we're not doing it based on, it's our agency, we want to promote ourselves and we want to show you what we have. We're customizing our content to what each platform and each audience from each platform would want to see in order to be interested in us on an informational level. We're never trying to sell to you. We're always trying to share our knowledge.
I love that because it's like sometimes I go to company pages, especially small businesses. All I see is buy, 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 buy. It's like, well, I
Yeah.
want to buy, but why should I buy your products? So I like the way you bring it up. It's like we want to teach you something, but if you're interested, we can help you more. I like that. So, would you say TikTok is for every businesses, especially because it's a little bit different type? It's a bit different compared to Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook.
Yeah, it's different. I would say TikTok can be for most all businesses. The one thing I always tell anyone when they're interested in TikTok, when I'm talking to any potentials, is do you have the capability or the dedication for us to take 3 videos of you daily? So we'll come and we'll get content in bulk. So it's not like we'll go every day. But in order for TikTok to do well, you need to be posting all the time. They do recommend 3 to 5 TikTok videos a day. So in order for us to really maximize our capabilities there, we're capable of doing it. The client just has to be willing to give us that front-facing value, because a lot of the times, depending on the service or the brand, people want to see faces. So for instance, a doctor's industry, if they want to be on TikTok, it is so, so important for people to be able to hear from the doctor. And a doctor doesn't have all the time in the world, they're with patients all day. But there are some doctors that are really doing it, and they're doing an incredible job at it. And that 30 seconds knowledge, those little tips and tricks they're giving are really creating larger value, because we know people have such short attention spans. So being able to give them quick fixes throughout the day, that's what creates value. And these brands could really harness TikTok in that capacity.
I never think of it that way. 3 videos a day, that's a lot. I can't even do
It is a
one.
lot. It's definitely a lot. We're doing that right now on our personal TikTok, and it's going well.
But that's interesting though. You need at least 3 videos to get it moving. So there are so many digital marketing companies out there, and offering the same set of services. Can you tell us something that set Blue Tech Social apart from all of them?
Yeah, definitely. So I think there's 2 things I want to call out. The first one is our strategy. So when we bring any client on, it's a custom strategy. It's not cookie cutter at all. So everything that they'll receive is very custom to their goals, their industry, and their target audience. And based on that, we're able to execute something different from any other one of our clients that we would execute. And what's nice is whenever we put out any content or any posting, the client will be able to refer back to the strategy and know that it aligns exactly with what we're posting. So there's no question of why did you post what you posted. It all makes sense because it goes back to the strategy. The second thing I would say that we're really, really strong in is our content creation. We're very, very big on the visuals. We're very big on trends, and we're very big on what is performing, because at the end of the day, visuals talk. If people don't like what they see, they're not going to do anything past that. They've already decided that they're done with your content. And so all those back-end methods that you might put into it afterwards aren't going to matter, because they've already decided that they don't like the content and they're not going to keep pursuing your brand. So that's always the first step, is the visual. And that is something that we focus really hard on nailing in order to get them all the next steps that they need for conversions.
So pretty much you make sure that everything is in the proper way for them, and then they can see it as well, as much as you can see it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so the strategy is so that they can visualize when we start posting, they'll know why we posted what we posted. So one thing that we do in the strategy, for instance, is we find 3 keywords that describe the business, and all the content we make sure that it can be bucketed into one of those 3 keywords. And the reason that we do that is to create brand continuity and consistency across the platforms, so that the messaging and voice aligns with the content that's being created. And this way, again, it goes back to that sense of like everything the brand wants to show for their brand and to portray online is being portrayed through the content that we've created, because it aligns with the strategy that they approve.
Okay. So because listening to you talking, it seems like you do all the posting for them. So pretty much you don't just create the content and then you send it to your client, but you also post it for them, right?
Yes, absolutely. So we're fully stacked. So when you come on with us, we take over your platforms 100%. We answer all the DMs, all the comments, we do all the stories, all the highlights, bios, anything you can think of. And we plan about a content bank a month in advance for each platform. So you know about a month in advance what's going to go out. You've approved it and everything. So there's never any question of, again, why. But in the moment, if, we had content planned, but we get a message from a client that says, I want to put this out today, it's very important, there's no problem. We can change that really quickly.
Okay, I like that. As a woman-owned business, I know there's always obstacles, especially as women. We deal with a lot when you're starting a business. So, what was the challenges you faced starting your business?
Definitely. So I think at the beginning, I started right before COVID hit. And the biggest thing was, I had just come out of college and I had experience in marketing with my startups and with school, but there was no like after college experience with a brand. So a lot of the times those first clients were a little more hesitant on my credibility. But it always starts with one to say yes, to bring on and to show your proof of work to the next, and for the next to say yes, and then to grow it that way. So from there, I was able to grow my portfolio and get more and more clients to say yes. I will say it's always a challenge as a woman being in a male dominated industry. You always deal with those who kind of don't take you seriously or don't believe in what you're saying or what you're doing. And there are times where I've been able to combat that and it has proven successful. And there have been times where it just wasn't a match and, I wasn't able to convert their way of thinking. But that's fine because, not everyone is meant to connect with everyone. There's a million agencies out there and there's one for everyone. So the right kind of clients will understand my voice and what our value is.
Absolutely. So, you took a little bit of a different route. So, usually, let's say we finish high school, we go to college. While in college, we get a job. We start working in the field that we think we want to do. But with you, it seems like you took a little bit of a different route. May I ask why?
Yeah, it's funny that you ask because there is definitely a backstory here. So I actually graduated university in 2019 and I had a job offer lined up when I graduated. I was going to be a social media coordinator for quite a large company. They are public, but that year they were doing really poorly. And they ended up laying off all like 300 people on their marketing team and rescinding all of the offers. So I never ended up working there. But at that point, I had that entrepreneurship experience. I had some marketing experience, and I was kind of frustrated with what I was seeing in the market in terms of, again, how brands were promoting themselves really not genuinely. And it was just so clear that, I was being promoted things and I was saying, I'm not going to buy this. You're clearly just trying to get my money. And that's when I really thought about how there was a gap in the market of like that authenticity aspect. A lot of people care a lot about the conversions and the sales, and we do that, and that's important. But the authenticity is so important in such saturated platforms and markets. And that's really something that I wanted to focus on, which is really what inspired me to say, take the entrepreneurship, take the marketing experience and just try it, because the worst that can happen at such a young age, the risk is so much less, like the risk reward. So I was willing to take that risk early on and see what happened. And if it didn't work out, I knew that I was able to, jump back and do something else with it.
Absolutely. And it's always nice to actually start early too, because you're learning a lot as you're growing. So when you start older, then you're making all the mistakes and you're trying to learn from them. It takes you longer, and then it can be pretty much hard. So
Yeah,
what is go
oh,
ahead.
sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say, so it's funny, like I talk to a lot of my friends now and they're like, who have jobs and, they're very happy and they're making good salaries and it's consistent and it's stable. But most all of them that I talk to are like, yeah, in about 5-10 years, I want to start my own business and do X, Y, and Z. And I just think it's so funny because it's like, okay, that's really awesome. You're so passionate about that, but I'm almost doing the other way around, like you're starting so much later and it does take a few years to really grow a business and to find success in it. And again, the younger you are, the more you could fall back on in terms of that risk. And as you get older, that risk becomes greater, your responsibilities become greater. So I just think it's funny or I understand, a lot of people had to come out and they wanted stable jobs, they needed to move out and so forth, but that their mindset is all that at one point, I want to start something and I want to be my own boss and I want to build my own thing. That's still that's the growing mindset among our community and among our generation more than I think it ever has been before.
Exactly. And being in my early 30, one thing that I learned is that all the people that used to tell me exactly the same thing they are telling you right now are still telling me exactly the same thing. I want to start a business and I'm going to start. I'm like, dude, you are close to 40. When are you going to start it?
Yeah,
Girl,
when are
come
you going to
on.
start it?
When are you going to start it? It's
Yeah.
it's time. Do it now or don't do it at all. And also, I
Yeah.
think that COVID also should, for me, I thought COVID would have opened a lot of people's eyes
Yeah.
because so many people get laid off or they lose their job
Yeah.
completely. So I
Yeah.
think the time is now. If you don't do it now, when are you going to do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
now let's talk about your services with BlueTickSocial.
Sure. So yeah, so our services, like I said, we're fully stacked, but we customize each one of our proposals and our agreements based on what the client's looking for. So as an overall, the deliverables that we have is the strategy is always the number one that you get. You get it no matter what you do. And then digital marketing, maintenance, and management, which is the marketing of the platforms, including the content creation, the engagement, and anything else that might need to go on. And then from there, once the organic is in a really strong place, we always recommend a paid strategy, which is when we come up with campaigns and we do all a paid media strategy plan for them, based again on goals, whether that is, hey, we have a new store location opening, or, new product, or here's a new service, we need to get foot traffic in, or doctor has a new, Botox or whatever it might be. So that's that one. And then from there, we have PR and writing. So these are sections that I would say have been very much underrated, or they're kind of like the underdogs in the past years, but it's actually a big deal now, which is like the writing side of things. So people have said like video marketing is king. I still believe that it still is, but writing is right there with it. And the reason for this is the websites. So website is also something we work on. SEO and keyword ranking of websites is such a big deal, and everyone is constantly doing it. We know that there's millions and millions of websites all the time, and Google gets over 77,000 searches every second. And so people are constantly updating that ranking, and it is so difficult to stay on top of that with your competitors. But the one way that you can maintain those keywords in SEO is by writing blogs about trending topics or themes or anything related to those keywords that are continuing to rank you high. Because when you put those on your page, it helps your search optimization. And then that also helps because it's more content you can put on your social that links to your website. And again, you're not trying to sell your services, you're being informational. So it's really, really powerful. And then we have the PR side of things. So obviously social is very important. You have to put yourself on your own platforms, because when we're looking for any kind of brand, a lot of times instinctually we'll go and we'll check out their social media, see if they look nice, especially with like restaurants or clothing. We really make decisions based on what we see. But another thing is like for these big brands or like small brands who are really trying to create credibility, it's always really nice when someone else says something nice about them. So on the PR side, getting them in publications or getting them in podcasts or having them host events, whatever it might be to build that credibility is really, really important as well. And then, of course, like I said, the last section is the website design and development. So I believe in omni-channel marketing. I believe that all of these things are important in order to have a strong media presence, and that you can't just do one, because we live in such a saturated online world and everyone is all over the interweb. So it's really, really important to be able to hit your target audience from all these different channels.
Absolutely. So it's you like a full everything you need to when you're starting that or you're trying to win or whatever the case might be, they can get it all just from
Mhm.
you right there.
That's the intention. Yeah.
I like that. Would you say PR is still very important right now for businesses?
Absolutely. I would say it's gotten even more important than it did previously, because again, that credibility, we're in such a saturated market, and within every industry, there's like hundreds of brands, right? So other than on social media being able to show our visual distinction, what we can use to distinguish ourselves is what other people say. So the better the publication, the better it is. I don't know how much strength there is in the conversion section. I believe it's stronger in the brand awareness and the brand reputation side of things, but it also depends what kind of campaigns you run. PR agencies will say something different. And again, it depends on the kind of campaign.
And also, I would think that it's depending on the company as well, right?
Absolutely. And the brand, yeah, and the messaging and their goal and so forth.
Everything else. Let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about your podcast because I know that you also have a podcast. Can you tell us about
Mm-hmm.
it?
Yeah, so I partner with Daily Ad Brief, and the segment is called More to Marketing, and we bring on marketers from all different facets. I've had like email and text message marketing, I've had digital marketing, I've had video creation companies, TikTok agencies. It's really all over, and it's really just like a small interview to kind of share about what they do and really put a spotlight on the work that they're doing. Because again, all these agencies are doing wonderful different things. They all have different perspectives. And one of the biggest questions that I ask is, what changes do you see in marketing in the next 2 years, and how are we supposed to prepare for them? And I always love asking this question because all of them have different perspectives on what they've done and what experience that they've had and what's working. And of course, there's again different facets of marketing. But one of the main things that I'm always hearing is content. Content is king. Like, it's all about making sure, and not only that, but people content. So the biggest thing we're seeing is things are driving away from focusing on corporations and those larger scale things, and focusing more on ads having people in them and that authenticity. And influencer marketing is becoming such a big deal now because people want to hear from people, and people want to buy from people, not from brands and corporations. So I think there's going to be such a big drive towards authenticity and being more genuine in the years to come in that sense. And that's what the podcast has really taught me. So it's great. It's like a 6-week program. We're in about week 4 now. And yeah, it's really amazing. I get to meet new people every week.
I love it. But I am curious to know something. Well, usually, when I talk with other women, that is something I just learned from you is a little bit different from other women, and it's I'm very curious to know why. You start a podcast that's you interviewing people that do pretty much what you are doing. May I
Yeah,
ask why?
that's a good question, and sometimes I ask myself that too. But I've learned that, so when I first started my company, at the beginning, the first couple clients I got, like I said, it was harder to get them, but then you bring in that networking aspect of things where it's word of mouth. And I've had so many clients refer us, and that's how we've gotten our clients. And I've also joined this agency group, and it's all just a bunch of agency owners. Like, we're all doing the same thing. And at first, when I was put into this group, I was kind of like, why would they do this? Like, you're just going to be competing for each other's, clients. But I thought it was really interesting because everyone wants to help each other. It's not as competitive as you would think. Obviously, if I'm talking to someone in the same industry as me, we don't share each other's clients. But there's a lot of people who are like, hey, I got a bunch of like leads. They need help in X, Y, and Z. I only focus on TikTok marketing. Who's interested? And they really delegate that out. And it's just nice because every week I'm meeting more agency owners who have had different experiences like me. I've met a few women agency owners as well, and it's so much more relatable. So while there is that competitive side to each other, I think that the marketing world is very polite in the fact that I haven't seen anyone really step on each other's toes like that, but in the sense of we really want to lift each other up because we know that marketing is just growing to be more and more important. And so when I do these interviews with these different marketing agencies, it's just really inspiring to see the work they do and the niches they focus on, and the success metrics that they have had. And I don't feel a sense of animosity or a sense of competitiveness with them of like, I want your clients, you want my clients. It's really just like, you found a solution to a conversion. Oh my God, congratulations. Hopefully I can find one for this brand. Similarly, and sometimes we're able to share methods and so forth. I had an agency owner I spoke to last week, and he's still in college, and he was brand new, and he was kind of like, like, I'm looking to network, I'm looking to grow, but I don't know what to do. And I really resonated, and I gave him all my information in terms of like what I do, because I was like, you were me 2 years ago. So I shared like the connections I had in terms of who I, use for lead generation and other things that I use, because I was like, I can see myself in you a lot. And if you keep going the way you're going, you could end up in such a great position as well. So I just think it's really great that marketers are lifting marketers up.
Yasmin, you just made the most beautiful thing. Although most women do, they don't do that. Usually, it's more like they feel like they're always competing with other people, and they have to keep everything in a box, so
Mm,
that so that yeah, no, I don't know, maybe it doesn't go out there. People don't
yeah.
see it, and usually, I find that very strange because about like 2 weeks ago, one girl reached out to me and said that she was talking, she does similar to what I do. And I was giving her advice. And then she said, I don't get it. Why would you just give me everything you do when I'm doing the exact same thing? And I told her, you're not my competition, and you will never be. I compete with myself every single day.
Yeah, they're not my competition. It's true. Like, and I've never felt like an overlap in anything. The clients that come to me, they're not coming to those other clients and vice versa. And like, you're creating value with everything. There's one agency owner, he's really incredible. And he started this whole community. One thing he always says is create value. Any conversation you walk into, create value. And I think that's so important because, again, people for people, and people remember how you made them feel more than what you did outside of that. Like agency owners will look at the work that I did and be like, wow, she's really killing it, and might, feel jealous or might be happy. But again, if I'm connecting with them and the way I make them feel and the value I bring them, it'll make a huge difference in that relationship and the way that works.
Absolutely. And please stay like that. Keep staying like that. And the more you share that,
Sure.
if I can share it and you can share it, more women will keep collaborating. They don't feel like they have to know
Absolutely.
think that they are competing all the time, because it's not
Absolutely.
always competition. Sometimes it's just
Mhm.
networking and sharing information that can help us grow, and then we can help the next generation. That's how I see it.
Yeah, women need to be supporting women and helping women grow because we are the next generation of leaders, and it's very powerful. And not to discredit the men, they're obviously wonderful men who are great leaders and great workers. In my experience, though, and what I've seen is the women leaders I've worked with have proven a lot more value for me in a lot of the marketing ways that and in ways that I've seen that sometimes we think that the men can create more value, but it's a stereotype that needs to be destroyed, because the women need to come into the market and show we are a lot more valuable and we bring a lot to the table.
Absolutely. Running a business, having a teams, it's a lot of
Mm.
things going on. So how do you stay happy when things doesn't go your way?
That's a good question. So I'm a big believer in manifestation. I do manifestations daily for my business, for my personal life, and it really has made a difference in terms of perspective and how I approach situations that happen. So failure is just an opportunity for growth, right? And I'm not here to say my business has been 100% successful. We have absolutely had failure. We've had clients who have had to leave, or we've had campaigns that didn't prove successful because of whatever it might have been, but those are all just opportunities to learn. And I think that's why we're so confident in taking on so many clients from so many different industries. And I'm speaking for my whole team when I say this, because we've all been through this, which is that, because we've had so much trial and error, we are willing to approach any client from any industry with any goal, knowing that regardless of what happens, we have methods that we've tried and tested, we've failed at, and we've had solutions to. So I don't think there's anything wrong with failure. I don't think there's anything wrong with making mistakes. I think it's about the perspective you take once it happens, to approach it. And that goes both on the personal and the professional side. And in terms of staying happy when something does happen, everyone has their moments. I'm not perfect. It's never fun for something to go wrong. But I'm a big believer in self-care as well. I have a dog. He is our company mascot. He's sitting right behind me right now. But he's always in the office and he's always giving that puppy love energy when something does go wrong. So it's always nice to have that. And on top of all of that, I have such an amazing team of women behind me, supporting me. And I would not be here doing any of this without them.
I love that.
Mhm.
So what are your future plans, and how do you wish to expand Blue Tick Social?
Definitely. So we're always looking to grow. We're always looking to bring on more clients. We are moving. We have small business sections and we have medium to large clients as well. And so we're always looking to grow in that facet. But we also want to grow as a company in terms of the information that we share and the knowledge that we bring. So this podcast that I'm doing is one facet of that. And we're eventually looking to kind of expand that portion of our department, as well as maybe bringing on courses that will eventually go online. Again, super informational. So for us, we're always thinking about ways we can be more informational in the market, because again, there's so many people that are trying to sell to you. And I think people are really smart these days and they know what they want and what they don't want. And if they see that they're being sold to and they don't want that, they're going to walk away. But if we can create some kind of value for them that piques their curiosity, that, asks them to DM us, or they have questions or whatnot, that's a lot more valuable, and that's the way that we want to grow.
Okay, I see. I see where you want to go. So, any advice do you have for young entrepreneurs that just starting out?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say don't give up. Like, there will be really, really hard times. it will look like from the outside perspective that other entrepreneurs are really, really successful, but everyone is going through a struggle at one point or another. And you just have to work through it because there is a learning lesson at the end of all of it. And where you are now is not where you will be 2 years from now. So keep following like your passions, your ambitions, and your gut. And eventually you will get to a place where you feel really confident.
Absolutely. Well, I think everyone heard you. Just keep moving forward no matter what. And thank you so much, Yasmine, for being here with us today. And I appreciate you taking the time to share your knowledge and also to let us learn more about your company. It's amazing what you are doing. And it's always a great opportunity to meet other women doing great stuff in this world.
Definitely. It was super exciting. And I always love talking about what we do and the women of the company and all that. So thank you so much for taking the time to ask.
Social media marketing. We need it, but not all of us know how to use it the proper way. You know, social media marketing play a significant role in our businesses, and having an active social media page is something most companies should take advantage of, including small businesses. We need it. We need to let people know we exist. So, and I also like that the fact that Yasmine follows different methods for each client to help create their unique images. And having a custom strategy is important to help a brand grow. So like I said, social media is a necessary tool for businesses, and make the time for it. Or if you don't have the time, get help from experts like Yasmine. Thank you, Yasmine, for taking the time to have this conversation with me, and thank you for listening to this week's episode. Let me know your thoughts about this episode and how you use social media for your business. To learn more about Yasmine and BlueTickSocial, please visit www.blueticksocial.com. Thank you for listening to Female Founders Podcast. That's it for this week's episode. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast app or connect with us on womel.com so that you don't miss our next episode. See you next time. Bye for now.